Today, I'm going to show you the only 3 things you need to build a 7-figure brand and how you can use simple tools like ChatGPT to build your business faster. The problem I see right now is that most people get excited about AI and they start using it for everything from writing emails to creating social posts, to brainstorming ideas, making graphics. But 6 months later, they're not making any more money than before. And they're really just creating more stuff faster. And this is usually because they're missing the strategy part. They're using AI as a creative tool instead of a business growth tool. But the businesses that are actually using AI to scale focus on 3 specific areas, and they're able to use AI strategically in each one. So in this video, I'm going to show you the only 3 things you need to focus on to build a profitable business, where to start, why you need a strategic design system, how to use AI to create content that actually makes you money, and the exact tools and systems that I use to speed up my workflow. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Andrew Lane, and I built my first 6-figure online business at the age of 23. I built my first 7-figure online business at the age of 28, and I've helped build multiple 7-figure brands over the years, from software to physical products, online education, and even my own marketing agency services. I've been a professional designer for over 15 years, and I recently worked at an AI startup for 2 years running their affiliate program and customer education, and I helped them grow to over 10 million users in that time. So let's get right into it. Here's the only 3 things you need to build a 7-figure brand. Number 1, you need to attract more leads. Number 2, you need to convert more sales. And number 3, you need to deliver more value. So to make that more real for you, here's the key question you need to ask for each one. Number 1, do people know you exist? So if they don't know you exist, they're not ever going to buy from you, right? Number 2, do they buy from you? There's a lot of people who have a big audience and they have the awareness and attention of a lot of people, but people don't actually buy from them. But at the same time, I work with a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs who have a very small audience, but they're able to sell a very high percentage. And number 3, do they refer you to others? So you always see that question when you're using tools like, how likely are you to recommend our product or service? That's a really important question because that's an indicator of how well your product is delivering value. And whether it's working with somebody one-to-one, whether it's in your own job, an online course, whether it's physical products, digital products, it doesn't really matter. The whole point is that you need to deliver enough value to kind of wow your customer and get them to want to share your stuff. So those right there are the only 3 things you need to focus on. Now let's get into the action plan and then a little bit more details on each one. There's really 3 main ways to attract more leads: build, borrow, or buy. And when I say build, I mean build your own audience, which means doing the hard work of creating content, building your online presence so that when people search for you or search for topics related to what you do, you start to show up. Now, a lot of people recommend that as the highest leverage that you can create. If you create the demand, if you are the go-to person, if people know about you because you have that presence online, everything gets easier for you. It's way cheaper to attract people because you may not even have to run any paid advertising. And people are much more likely to convert from you because you have that credibility and reputation. But the downside is that building your own online presence and brand can take many years and a lot of effort. So a faster path that a lot of people recommend is to borrow. And by borrowing, that means who has the audience that you want to get in front of and how can you get in front of them faster? So the strategy here is to go partner with the people who already have that relationship with an audience, people who've already built that audience, and go borrow that attention. And there are a lot of really cool strategies to do that. You could look up the Dream 100 strategy, which is finding the top 100 influencers in your industry and then finding ways to partner with them. I've heard of the ladder of podcast interviews, which means start with small podcasts where people have very small audiences, but practice your delivery and your ability to tell your story and then start to get noticed and work your way up the ladder to where eventually you want to get featured on some of the top podcasts or shows, publications, whatever it is in your industry. How can you borrow someone else's established audience to get in front of them faster? And I've helped clients do this in a lot of different industries. For example, one client was a photographer and she was using software that she really liked to edit her photos. And she was rising up as an educator in the photography industry. So she was trying to help other photographers grow their business. And she ended up getting featured on the software company's website, and they had tens of thousands of customers using this software product. And by getting featured in a blog article on their website, she now ranked very high on Google SEO. So when people are looking for advice on how to grow their photography business, she was now ranking very high because she leveraged that brand that was already established. And that software company is happy to do that because they were featuring someone who is a prominent photographer and who was using their product. So it was a win-win situation. And that's really what you want to look for here with borrowing audiences, is where are the win-win situations? How can you partner with people, collaborate, and look for ways to give value to their audience? You can share your own story, your own advice, your own lessons, even free resources to give value to their audience. And in return, now people know you exist. So that's a really good strategy. Another one is getting affiliates to promote your product for you. They already have audiences and they can go share your product or service and get a commission. So you can borrow their marketing efforts as well. And finally, to get more leads, you can buy them. So there are many ways to pay to get your content in front of your ideal audience. You can go directly to Facebook, Google search, and start to show up where people are without having to post content for years or go out and try to establish these relationships. You can just go directly to the audience where they are. Okay, so those are the top 3 ways to attract more leads. Now, the next thing you need to do is convert more sales, because just getting attention doesn't mean you're going to make money. So the question now is, how do you convert more sales? Well, luckily, there's a lot of research around what it actually takes to get someone to want to buy from you. There's a great book called Influence on the Psychology of Persuasion that lists out key factors. And the truth is, you can spend a lifetime trying to figure out how to convert more sales. But there's a study recently that I really liked that Google has done and other people have performed similar research. And what they've found is basically it comes down to 7 hours of content, 11 interactions, and 4 locations. So just to expand on that, there's a book I really like called Key Person of Influence. And the point is that you basically just need to have enough quality content and touch points online for audiences to build trust and recognition. And it comes down to 7 hours, which means the amount of time someone needs to spend with your content or brand before they trust you enough to buy. And the next thing is 11 interactions. They should encounter your brand or message at least 11 times. And then finally is 4 locations. They need to see you in at least 4 different places: YouTube, podcasts, social media, blog, online communities, Facebook groups, even in-person events, or even featured on other people's podcasts. And this is basically why everyone is so obsessed with creating content, because you can automate the process of building trust with people if you have content online. And if the content is actually high quality, you'll have a very good chance of turning total strangers into customers very quickly. Now, it doesn't have to take this long. It doesn't require 7 hours. They can happen much faster the better you get at communicating your value, your key points, the problems you solve, how you solve them. There's many things you can do here to accelerate this and make it better. But the point is, if you can get someone to at least hang around for this long, you have a very good chance of them buying from you. And there's more research on this from someone like Professor Dunbar. He has a 7-hour rule that suggests spending 7 hours with someone is a key threshold for building a meaningful connection and forming a lasting friendship or close acquaintance. And this concept extends to online interactions as well, suggesting that spending 7 hours engaging with someone's digital content can lead to a sense of connection and trust. So before you go down the rabbit hole of trying to create all this content and do all these things, short form clips, this or that, just remember that the whole point is to attract more leads and convert more sales. It really does come down to the quality of interaction as well. It's not just getting eyeballs on your content. You have to think about, how are you interacting with them? How are they going to consume these 7 hours of content? What kind of content should that be? How can you make it more interesting and valuable? And then keep in mind that it takes multiple interactions. The first time they see you probably won't turn into a sale, but if you can show up consistently, eventually they'll start to see you more and more, and now they'll move into action. And 4 locations is really interesting. So this is about getting them off of one platform and into the other parts of your world. So this could mean them seeing an ad or seeing a YouTube video and then clicking a link to your website and then clicking to opt in, and now they're on your email list, and then joining your Facebook group or seeing you on someone else's podcast. And some people even use this as a hack in their sales videos, where they'll actually be in different physical locations. They'll be at the beach, at the coffee shop, in their office, around their friends, family, colleagues, customers. So another way to think about 4 locations is maybe using imagery or videos of you in different environments, on stage at an event, hanging out with leaders in your industry, interacting with your customers. The 4 locations, you can think of that in different ways as well, and you can use that strategically in your favor. Now, finally, how do you deliver more value? Number 1, think about this. Are you at least helping them achieve the results that you promised? So if they're buying something from you, the number one thing is just make sure you deliver on your promise. Number two, can you do it faster than expected? Speed is really valuable, and that's where AI is getting really useful because you can actually deliver value way faster using AI tools to even make it personalized. And that leads to better than expected. What we're starting to see is people add more and more value to their offerings. And I've had to do this in my own agency with our clients. In the past, I would just do graphics, some web design, and then we would do some strategy and help them get up and running. But when AI came around, I started using it to write content. And now we added that as a valuable resource. The thing here you can do is think about how can I use AI to add more value to what I'm selling? And we're seeing this in a wide range of industries. For example, we have a client who helps Airbnb owners optimize their property listings. And they're adding a wide range of tools to their service. And one thing they've done is actually to convert more sales, they now create personalized optimization listing reports, which just means the customer can put in their link to their listing, and they created an AI tool that will analyze it and provide some suggestions. So these interactions now are getting much more personalized and valuable. So you can add value in that customer journey to convert more sales, but then you also have to think about what can happen after they buy. How can I add more value to what I'm selling? So what they've done over here is now they do these monthly personalized reports where they have AI analyze all this data, compare it to market trends, and provide a personalized report of how their property is performing, suggestions on what they can do to improve it next month, and some things that they're going to do internally to provide a better service and help them get more ROI. So when it comes to AI, you have to look at all these things and say, well, how can AI help me build my audience faster? Can it help me do better research to find the keywords that people are searching for so I can get in front of them and get more reach with the content I'm creating? Can it help me research and identify potential partners so I can create more opportunities to get in front of new audiences? And obviously, if you're doing paid advertising, AI should be analyzing all that for you to help you get more return on your investment. When it comes to converting more sales, how can you use AI to help you create more effective content? Sales videos, educational content. It can help you write up the emails to create all those touch points. One thing I really like to do with AI is to conceptualize what that could even look like or come up with ideas for you. So just brainstorming how I can do these things is a really good use case of AI. Get the plan, come up with new ideas, and then help you execute. What I really like now is doing this visually just to help me imagine what my sales funnel could look like, or what my PDF downloads and reports can look like, or what my YouTube thumbnails could look like. We're using AI in many ways for our clients, and I'm using it in my own business to help me do all of this much faster and more effectively. But I think the real key here is in the delivering more value. This is probably the most important thing you can walk away with today is focusing over here on delivering more value. Helping people achieve results faster and better is going to help you separate from the pack and become the leader in your industry. It also helps you charge more, get more referrals. And remember, the more value you can provide in your products or services, the more people are going to refer you to others. And there's a lot of research that shows that people who are referred by someone are more likely to buy and buy much faster. So you can actually almost bypass this 7-11-4 rule because people who come from referrals already have a high level of trust and are much more likely to convert. And you'll see this advice from a lot of the top leaders right now. Seth Godin, one of my favorite marketing minds, he teaches this a lot. Basically, the idea is to make your offer more valuable. Your product or service should be so interesting, unique, or valuable that people can't help but talk about it. If it's not worth making a remark about, it's invisible from a crowded marketplace. This is similar to what Alex Hormozi talks about in $100 million offers, where he shows the value equation of basically helping someone achieve a much bigger goal with less time and effort. And that's called the value equation. What I'm seeing in my own business, my main focus right now, and for my clients is to help people achieve their goals faster and better than they ever thought possible. And if you're thinking that I just need to use AI to do my marketing and my sales funnels and all that content creation, there's actually a huge opportunity here on the value side of things, adding more value to your products and services. And just the other day, I was listening to a Q&A with Tim Ferriss, and he made this same point. Basically, he said, the marketing works best when it's amplifying something people already love. And he recommended to focus on building a product so valuable that people want to share it even without marketing. So before you get distracted by PR or hype, make sure the core offer is genuinely excellent first. If you wouldn't be confident handing your product to a small group and trusting it to spread on its own, keep refining. So the point he made here is that when he was writing his books, his mindset was more, if I could write a book so good that if I gave it for free to 1,000 people, would it spread on its own? Would people talk about it, recommend it, and share it with their friends? So I think that's a really important mindset to have when we look at all this AI stuff. There's going to be more and more content created out there. There's more marketing hype than ever, and there's new products and services popping up all the time. So the real differentiator here and the way to get ahead in today's world is to think about how can you use AI to make your product or service so much more valuable that it really stands out in the market. And ultimately that opens up many new opportunities for you and your business. All right, so I've given you a lot of information in this video so far, but the truth is you really can't do everything all at once. And what I recommend doing right now is just looking at where you are. There's really two different stages that have very different strategies. If you are in that early stage of trying to get to 100K a year, what you need to do next is a lot different than if you're trying to scale up to 7 figures. So if you're in that early stage right now, you really want to keep it simple. And what I recommend doing for lead generation is just focus on free social media posting, referrals, and partnerships. I've done this many times in my career, even when I was in college. If you can go out there and do some networking, meet the right people, target the people who have a relationship with potential customers of yours, and then try to give them some value for free or very low cost. The point is you want to build relationships with the influencers who already have the audience that you want. And if you do that well, you won't need to do a lot of marketing. You can just use referrals to continue to get more and more clients. And you may only need a few clients to get up to that 100K a year goal. For sales, you really just need a simple sales page or a document and then get on a call with them. And then after you do a few sales calls, you'll kind of see what the gaps are in their knowledge. So maybe eventually you'll record a video or something really simple to just break down the information for them so you don't have to keep repeating yourself. And then when you do get on a call with somebody, they'll be more informed, educated, they'll have better questions, and it will be a much easier sales process. And then for value, really just work with them one-to-one. That's actually the best place to start, no matter what you're trying to sell. Because in the early stages, the only way to find out what is valuable to them is to really get in the weeds, solve their problems, work with them closely, create some case studies, success stories. And in that process, you will identify what really moved the needle and what is of more value and what you can add to your services to make it even more helpful, faster, and better as you continue to evolve. Now, when you've done some of that and you've reached that milestone of some comfortable income and you're ready to start to scale, that's where you can start to build systems. And by systems, I mean tech, communication, and design. Now, tech is just like your online website, your sales funnel, your payment processing. Communication is your emails, and then streamlining some of your marketing. And finally, design. I consider that a really important system to build because there's really a lot of content to create. And what I mean by design is the ability to take that idea in your head and make it real. So the harder that process is, the slower everything gets. And what really sucks is when you have these big ideas in your head, but it takes forever to make them real, then you lose momentum, you lose enthusiasm, and your ideas fizzle out. So having design systems helps you quickly visualize what's in your mind, get it on brand, and get it out to your market. And that's really all you do at this stage is you continue to just stack more value and automation over time as you get those systems in place. So here's more of a visual to help you see what that looks like as you start to build all those things out. Your marketing is attracting more leads, your sales process is converting more sales, and your income streams become more and more automated and scalable. So you can start to move away from trading time for money, and you're finding more ways to deliver value to more people without having to work harder. And you'll see as you start to look closely at all of these things you need to build, this actually becomes a lot of content creation. And that's pretty much what I do in my day-to-day work with clients and my own business is we are tackling all of these challenges all the time. As new ideas come up, we have to go in and execute, set up sales funnels, set up email sequences, set up digital products and programs, create the marketing campaigns, create the content. And many of the clients that I work with are either trying to build all this out or they have built it out, but it's just kind of a mess and not really working well together. And in either scenario, it really pays off to do some work up front to get these systems more streamlined and to have a better strategy as you go into this. And it also really helps to get AI working for you and get a system to get AI to help you build out these things. And that's where my mind always goes back to that Abraham Lincoln quote where he said, "If you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe." And we have that mindset in our agency. Everything we do at the beginning phases with a client is just building out the systems that we need so that when we go and try to execute, we can do it much more efficiently. And this goes back to my first 7-figure business as well. We had a software business where we were creating content every week. We had these systems in place, and I built out systems to help us operate much more efficiently. I was able to get my team more involved, and that helped us save a lot of time, look more pro, have way less stress, and have much more impact. And when you start to actually go and do this stuff, it starts to get really complicated. You've seen all these sales funnel diagrams. And if you've ever actually done that yourself or tried to do it before, you realize pretty quickly how much work it is. And there's a huge learning curve. And then the time to actually do it all becomes really exhausting. And so what I've seen over the years is this huge gap between these two types of brands. There's the average brand, and then there's the authority brand. And the average brand is working hard, but never quite breaking through. The authority brand is able to move fast, and they seem to be everywhere all at once. And you've probably noticed this yourself. There's just like this huge gap between the few, like top 10% or even less, who seem to just be crushing it. And then there's everyone else who's looking at them and saying, oh, I kind of see what they're doing. Let me try to figure it out myself. And they just can't seem to do it. And for the average brand, each post or campaign feels like starting from scratch. You feel behind, struggling just to keep up, and you don't really have a good process for creating or launching content. And bringing ideas to life takes too long, and you lose that momentum. But for the authority brand, you have systems and structure. You're able to turn ideas into content, products, and campaigns very quickly. You're able to launch new ideas, offers, sales funnels, and emails in days instead of months. And the most important thing is because you're able to move fast, you're able to test, get feedback, and improve almost instantly. And that's where the gap gets even wider and wider, because as those brands are able to put content out there, get feedback, they're improving and adapting much faster than everyone else. So now I want to show you a quick overview of the design system that I built recently that leverages ChatGPT to make all of this much faster and easier. And this is what we use in our agency. We start by having AI understand our brand, the feel, the vibe. Then we have the AI create visual mockups of the mood board, either from scratch for a new brand or new ideas, or we take the current brand and try to refine it down to one single image. And then we have AI analyze that image and any other visual assets that we have and create written visual brand guidelines. Now, having a combination of written guidelines plus visual content really helps the AI become more of a creative partner. And the AI is actually really good at analyzing images, but it's also good at following written instructions. And what you can do with these documents is load them into a project on ChatGPT. If you have a paid plan of ChatGPT, it has this project feature that's really cool. So every time you log into ChatGPT, it will be able to read all of these documents that you have in there, pull from them, and then you can ask it to create new content, new ideas, and it's able to do that really well. And it can stay pretty on brand. So what I've been doing is testing, how much can it actually do for us? And from simple things like taking any idea that we have and just giving us mock-ups and showing us how it could look, that already saves a lot of time and energy, because normally I'd have to go hire a designer. So just getting ideas and bouncing ideas around used to be really hard to do. But now you can get AI to do that for you really in just a few minutes or a few clicks. But what I find almost even more valuable is that the AI can actually extract elements out of pretty much anything. So you can ask it to pull out background images, pull out icons, textures, and really any visual element that you want, you can ask it to just create that for you and generate it for you right there. And what happens is you start to build up a library of these images, these concepts, these ideas, and the actual design layers that you need. So when you go to actually build out your websites, your sales pages, you have all of the assets ready to go. And that kind of design system, when you have all this stuff organized and ready, and then have AI there helping you with anything new that you need to visualize or come up with, this is where you're able to bring ideas and make them real so much faster. This is where I've found my own productivity like 10xing, because instead of hunting around for stock images, hunting around for stock background layers and graphics, you can now just do it right there in a few seconds right inside ChatGPT. So the process really looks like this. You go through that mood board method, then you can load those files into a ChatGPT project, or some people make their own custom GPT. Or if you don't have a paid account, you could just have these files on your computer and then just upload them anytime you start a new chat. And once you do that, you're able to create branded content really fast with ChatGPT. So let me just do a quick recap of everything we just went through. The three things you need to do if you want to build a seven-figure brand: attract more leads, convert more sales, and deliver more value. And where you should start, and really where you should always keep your mindset, is how can I add more value? And you can start by just looking at the things that come up every day in your current work and try to streamline those things and make them faster and easier. And if you want to see an example of how I'm doing that, I actually built out custom GPT tools to help you do that mood board method way faster. And you can just go to moodboardmethod.com to see exactly how I'm using AI to take what I do every day in my work and give it to you and make it available to you so that you can do it for yourself. And that's just one example of how I'm personally using ChatGPT in my own business. I'm creating tools, prompts, and templates for everything that we're doing in our business for ourselves and our clients. And I'm using them internally to deliver better results for our clients, but I'm also packaging them up and selling them and giving them away to help me grow my other streams of income. And number three, this is something I feel like people don't talk about enough. You really do need a design system so you can clarify your ideas and execute much faster. And to really use AI to make more money, you need to offer more value, improve your sales funnel, and grow your audience. Those are the things you should use AI for. Instead of going down the rabbit hole of exploring every little cool gadget and creative thing you can do with AI, if you're really trying to grow your business, keep your focus on these three things and look for ways that AI can help you streamline your workflow, add more value, attract more leads, and convert more sales. And the AI tools that I'm personally using to speed up my own workflow are, as you saw, ChatGPT projects and custom GPTs. I really like using Sora, which is just the visual side of ChatGPT. It's its own standalone site. A tool called Leonardo AI is really awesome for just visualizing concepts and creating images with AI. I find that one to be just really fun and easy to use. And then I'd keep an eye out on Gemini. They're doing really cool stuff with image generation and video content. I also use Claude a lot for writing, but when it comes to my design system, I pretty much keep it to ChatGPT, Sora, and Leonardo AI right now. But these AI tools are changing all the time. That's just where I'm at right now. So the next step that I recommend for you is, if you're curious to learn more about this, I do have a free training that you can check out to learn how this mood board method works. I created this method to help you build your brand with speed and confidence, and it's a really thoughtful process that you can go through and start to really see your ideas come to life much faster. And right now, it's pretty much the only AI-powered branding system that transforms rough ideas into consistent, high-impact visual concepts in minutes with ChatGPT. So again, if you want to see more of how that works, I put together a free training for you at moodboardmethod.com. I also have some other videos on my YouTube channel that walk you through some of this, so be sure to check those out. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I really hope this was helpful. Drop a comment below if anything stood out to you or anything that you learned or observed or any feedback that you have for me. I appreciate you hanging out, and be sure to subscribe and check out moodboardmethod.com if you want to learn more about how it works.